as we sat through in the interviews, I asked you, what made you believe that you could do this? Why didn't you quit? Because I was raised where you don't put your dream first. That's a side thing, right? You get a day job. You have to be realistic. You have to do the things, to earn a living. And you never thought about how you could monetize on this at that time. You were 19, right? You were 19. You went to a foreign country. You didn't speak the language. You didn't have any family. Thank God a mall was there. And then that's where I go back, and I always tie you into James Campbell, the story of the hero's journey, right? Because the hero gets the call to adventure, and then he leaves his home. He has to cross the threshold. The mentor comes. He goes through trials and tribulation. He has success. It's like a rebirth, a death and a rebirth. And then he gets the elixir, and then he brings that elixir back home. And that's exactly what you did. And again, because I've been immersed in your story for so many years, it was even when you first started, you would come back and then put mats on the garage, right? And start teaching and start sharing the knowledge. And so just reconciling all of that.
We got that wrestling mats from Armand Ortega from his garage. We put them in a basement. Another one of my Joaquin, he was trying to open up a brewery. We put it because it was vacant because he can get the city the license, to open up the restaurant. And so we put some wrestling mats down, and then we put moving blankets. That's the old picture of me with my headgear.
Oh yeah.
On against the wall.
Yeah.
And moving blankets on the wall because it was adobe, which is like dirt basically, right? As the walls. And so we put moving blankets on the wall just so you don't get dirty with the geese, Wrestling mats, and then moving blankets for the wall pads.
Yeah.
And we just started, right? And
here
did
you
jiu-jitsu.
are.
I started to take away the train of thought.
It was that's pretty much like the gist of it. I think I always go back to, I'm not a jiu-jitsu practitioner, obviously. I only know a few things because of being around, you and Anthony. But going back to the story, for me, it was every chapter and the rewriting of it was the lesson that was involved, right? And like one of the chapters was when you talked about you believed in your technique.
When I got the food poisoning.
Yeah. Can you just talk about that a little bit? I love that story.
Oh yeah, so I didn't realize it, but I did. Won the Nogi Worlds and Masters, right? Like, and then I had planned to do two tournaments the following weekends because Sururu was going to do a seminar tour in the south of Spain, and he invited me to go with him. And so I looked at the schedule and I was like, oh, there's 2 tournaments in Berlin and one in Madrid, right? Those weeks. And so he's like, yeah, let's do it. And then he bailed on me, and so I ended up following through with it. And so it was towards the end, right? And I went to the south of Spain, and then on my way out, I did the Madrid Open, right? That was the thing. And so the night before the tournament, I didn't feel good. I felt kind of like, I don't know, something was wrong, but, whatever. I woke up and I couldn't really eat, or drink water in the morning of. And then I went out and, talked to my first opponent, and then we went out and competed. And then we did some movements. I did my little sweep, and then he kind of came on top and then dropped his weight on my stomach. And I felt like I was going to throw up, but I didn't. I held it in and got to the end of the match, and then after the match was over, I threw up. And I had food poisoning, and I was so weak. I was pale, and it was a bracket of 3 people, and they're like, you want to go again? And I'm like, okay, let's go, and I was completely out of it. What's cool when I watched the video, like after, I was like, oh, I was still trying to win,
Yeah.
That's what was cool about it. And then I ended up getting choked unconscious. And I had never been choked out unconscious in my life. It happens, right? In training or whatever, but I had never been choked unconscious. And I woke up super bummed out, feeling like, I had the flu. I couldn't drink water, couldn't eat.